constantly facing life-threatening situations. And the group in this movie is a bomb disposal team in Iraq. So you know they're in for some stress.
Okay, so what's the play?
During one operation, a soldier notices someone with a camcorder and surmises that the video will end up online. Only problem with that is, YouTube was launched in February 2005, and this movie took place in 2004.
Ready to put me on YouTube.
Oh my god.
What's more, to blow off steam during downtime, one soldier is seen playing Gears of War, which wasn't released until 2006, on an Xbox 360, which wasn't released until 2005. We guess filmmakers have it rough too. Number 3. The map, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, I'm going back. Oh. Where the fuck
Just
am I
because
going?
the Indiana Jones series is so beloved, doesn't mean it's immune to boo-boos. When Indy travels the globe trying to locate the Ark of the Covenant before the Nazis, there's a sequence featuring a stylized graphic that shows his trajectory on a map. It's an inventive way to move things along, but there are numerous naming errors, as the map showed the world as it appeared in 1981, when the film was released, and not 1936, when the film takes place.
You chose the wrong friend.
For example, Indy passes Jordan, which was known as Transjordan until the late 40s, and Thailand, which in 1936 was called Siam. Still a cool scene though. Number 2, the electric chair, the Green Mile.
We got a dead man walking here.
Telling the story of John Coffey, a powerful and spiritual inmate who gives faith to the pessimistic guards. This masterful Stephen King adaptation is set in Louisiana prison in the mid-1930s.
Won't kill it. Raping baby killer twice.
Its title refers to the corridor the prison's inmates must walk down to meet their doom in the form of the electric chair. However, unless that hallway passes through a wormhole, this would have been impossible in 1935, as Louisiana would not adopt the electric chair as its form of capital punishment for another 5 years.
Take my hand, boss. You see for yourself.
Instead, these characters should have been sentenced to an old-fashioned hanging.
On two.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Come on, real.
How many did you do yesterday?
3. Gentlemen.
Perhaps the most notable mistake, however, is one of the most well-known aspects of the movie. That's right, we're talking about the iconic kilts the soldiers wear throughout the film. While they certainly look badass in battle, that's not what the real Scottish soldiers do. With our list?
I really don't like to talk about that.
Which movie anachronism did you find the most annoying?
Always knew someday you'd come walking back from life.
For more informative top 10s published every day. Be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
So if you're a film buff, you regularly impress your friends with your knowledge of movie trivia. You might be able to recite the script of The Godfather word for word. Maybe you know which year every movie in the Harry Potter franchise came out. And you might even know how many times Wayne and Garth say swing in Wayne's World. But what about all the lesser known movie trivia from behind the scenes? There are a lot of facts about movies that might just take you by surprise. And that's what this video is all about. It's our latest edition of rapid fire behind the scenes movie. Steven Spielberg directed Jurassic Park in a very hands-on manner, but he oversaw the post-production of the video game, Schindler's List. With Robert Stromberg at the movie's helm, Maleficent had the largest budget ever for a first-time director at $263 million. That surpassed another hit, Tron Legacy, that was $170 million. In order to add realism to his trailer entitled character and wrestler, Mickey Rourke was bleeding from his own head. Blade was in the process of cutting herself before bleeding, and it actually happens in real life in the pro wrestling industry. The eagle on the back of Hancock's uniform is a replica of the Philadelphia Eagles logo, made from 1948 to 1995. Philadelphia is, of course, the home city of Hancock's star, Will Smith. On the playground is where he spent most of his days. For the scene in Titanic, where water crashes into the grand staircase room, the filmmakers only had one opportunity to get it right. This entire set of furniture was going to be destroyed in the process. The Avatar, the whooping and cackling sounds made by the wolf-like predators in the ritual moon of Pandora are actually real spotted. Ping-pong matches of Forrest Gump, there was no actual ballroom. All you see was entirely CGI, and they had a every fire. To get a good idea of the working power behind Monsters War and the recent Godzilla reboot, the movie's sound designers used a 12-foot high, 8-foot wide screen that blasted out at 100,000 watts. To help save time on the tight schedule of The Mist, producers and director Darabont hired a cameraman from the Shield television series to shoot the movie. This cameraman was able to move fast because of the hectic TV production schedule. The weird-looking white alien fish that's in the restaurant kitchen scene in many black screen is in fact an actual real-life fish. Technically known as a cyclone monster, commonly known as a blob. As a promotional stunt for American Ultra, planes are using a free marijuana. Alexander Payne is replaced by David Roberts as the voice of Nemo, due to having outgrown his original role since Finding Nemo in 2003. However, Gould does have a cameo as passenger Carl in the movie. Ice Age Collision Course was originally scheduled for release on July 15, 2016. However, the release was delayed until July 22nd to avoid having to compete with the Ghostbusters reboot. During the building of the Assassin's Creed courtyard set in Malta, a hurricane swept inland and damaged the set. The set in question was built on the same site as the amphitheater in Gladiator. Will Smith became so fond of his co-star Abby, the German Shepherd who played Sam in I Am Legend, that he tried to adopt her when filming was finished, but the dog's owner could not be persuaded to give her up. Michael B. Jordan plays Adonis Creed, son of Apollo Creed in 2015's Creed. However, in reality, Jordan was born in 1987, 2 years after the fictional death of Apollo. There's a scene in Whiplash in which J.K. Simmons' character Fletcher calls Miles Teller's Andrew a self-righteous little prick. This was the only line Simmons improvised in the entire movie.
So, what do you say?
For the scenes in The Wolf of Wall Street in which some of the movie's characters were snorting cocaine, the actors actually snorted crack. The villainous Eduardo El Macho Perez in Despicable Me 2 was actually played by Al Pacino, and it was recorded to one song, dropped out of the project. In spite of the fact that she was outright awful, decapitated, unscrambled, Helen Weir and the rest of the auditioned for a movie. This was to ensure that the people behind the movie were satisfied and performed. And that's it. Thanks for watching the latest host of Rapid Fire behind the scenes movie. Did you know about entities? Discover
fan favorite movie or TV character begins with the perfect casting. Perfect isn't always obvious from the start. Sometimes directors or actors find out too late that a role or performance just isn't going to cut it, leaving studios scrambling to find replacements. They may be hard to believe, but here are 10 actors who got fired or replaced during production. Ryan Gosling in The Lovely Bones. These days, it's hard to imagine Ryan Gosling being replaced from any movie, but when he showed up on the set for this novel adaptation weighing in at 210 pounds, director Peter Jackson was shocked. Gosling figured that gaining 60 pounds was right for the role, but Jackson didn't. Mark Wahlberg was brought in, and Gosling headed back to the gym. Rebecca Gayheart in Firefly. Few TV shows airing for less than one season are as loved as Joss Whedon's space western, and the same goes for the cast. But before Morena Baccarin landed the role of Inara Serra, the part was filled by actress Rebecca Gayheart. When the shoot began, Whedon knew the chemistry was wrong, and made sure to shoot the other characters around her for the pilot. Inara is alone in most of her intro shots, because the footage from the previous shoot was used for the other actors. Samantha Morton in Her. Spike Jonze posed a powerful question. Could you fall in love with an operating system if it had the voice of Scarlett Johansson? But that wasn't always the plan. Actress Samantha Morton actually voiced the AI character for the entire shoot opposite Joaquin Phoenix. But when it came time to record the final voice, Jonze felt something was off. Johansson was brought in, and a Best Picture nomination wasn't far behind. Sean Young in Batman. In hindsight, it's hard to think of a better pair than Michael Keaton's Batman and Kim Basinger's Vicky Vale in Tim Burton's Batman. But the actress only won the role after Sean Young had to drop out, literally. While practicing for a horse riding scene with Keaton, she fell off and broke her leg. She was panicked, but Basinger came swooping in. Josh Heltman in X-Men Days of Future Past. Was the still first-class director Matthew Vaughn in charge of the time-traveling X-Men tale, a young juggernaut who was Magneto at present. Actor Josh Heltman cast him, but once Bryan Singer took over the luckily, he found a man for Heltman as a young Thomas Wayne, the human arch-nemesis of Charles Xavier's young students. Scott Glenn in Sons of Anarchy. It's hard to imagine anyone else but Heltman in the role of Magneto. The pilot of Sons of Anarchy began filming because of the great visual acting in the role of Lex Luthor, Scott Glenn. The entire episode was filled with delight, providing action every week, but look closely and getting ready for Lex Luthor on pilot. Scott Glenn. Gazelle. He was the henchwoman with Fraser Sharp steady and close. But the more he was acting as a double entry character. As far as wireless rehearsals, the movie got the lead in generating results. Lou Ferrigno in Gladiator. Ridley Scott's epic enjoyed the tribute classics and Gladiator, but it almost included one massive cameo. Lou Ferrigno, a veteran of the genre in his early film career before playing the Incredible Hulk, was set to play the massive gladiator Tigris of Gaul for the tiger-filled arena sequence. But during production, British bodybuilder Sven Wold chosen camping for the part on one. Eminem in Southpaw. The producers of Southpaw decided it was time for a different kind of boxing movie, and just how to make it by casting rapper Eminem in a spiritual sequel to his critic-stunning role in the semi-autobiographical 8 Mile. Knowing the rapper's history, he was pitched the idea of a down-and-out boxer for his role, and Eminem signed on. The creator of Sons of Anarchy wrote the script, the boxer had training, the rapper decided to make an album. Brought him instead, after going on screening, just because he could be placed up in film doesn't mean he won't still get the part. When director Barry Herron looked at Jackson album Psycho, she was surprised box of roses. Get it? This was actually a very subtle and clever nod to the legendary American rock band that performed this theme song You Could Be Mine. Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Home Alone 2 was the New York-based sequel to 1991's New York. This time around, Macaulay Culkin's Kevin McAllister was left to survive on his own in Big Apple. His father's credit card to take a residency at the Plaza Hotel. Then, owned by current U.S. President and he arrives at the hotel, he asks his father to switch directions to the water. What's that fellow visitor? Possibly just right off the trademark there. Scream. It could be argued that 1996's Scream is in itself one big long video. This one is so great that we could have not included it here. In the scene in Westboro High School, the janitor is wearing clothes reminiscent of an iconic character from another West Virginia, Freddy Krueger of A Nightmare on Elm Street fame. Blatant reference, but what wasn't so blatant was that the character, whose name was Fred, was actually played by a heavily disguised Craven himself. Shaun of the Dead. 2004's Shaun of the Dead is a brilliant British horror comedy that pays tribute to the zombie movies of old. Its writer and star, Simon Pegg, is a huge fan of the zombie genre. That was really clever reference to George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead in the form of a quote by Nick Frost's character Ed. Pegg's character Sean was speaking to his mother in the movie in the zombie apocalypse and shouted, "We're coming to get you, Barbara!" This line was paraphrased from the famous The Get You, Barbara quote, also striving to drop the character's to scare sister in the aforementioned 1960s classic. Thor. Marvel Cinematic Universe movies are always full of new jokes, Easter eggs, and fun facts. We can make an entire separate list with such examples. And one of the best, 2011's Thor. The movie saw the blossoming of the perennially reviled relationship between Chris Hemsworth's Thor and Natalie Portman's Jane Foster. At one point, Foster lends Thor a t-shirt that she says belonged to an ex-boyfriend named Donald Blake. Fans of the Thor comic books will have realized that this is a reference to the human alter ego of the Asgardian and the character's earlier years. Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is the second movie in Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg's Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, the first being the previously mentioned Shaun of the Dead. Coming 2 years after the brilliant horror comedy in 2006, Hot Fuzz made a blink and you'll miss it reference to it. When Nick Frost's PC Danny Butterman was browsing a DVD bargain bin at the local supermarket, a copy of a movie called Zombies Party could be seen lying at the bottom of it. In reality, Zombies Party was actually the name by which Shaun of the Dead was released in some countries. I Am Legend. Back in 2007, when I Am Legend was released, a Batman vs. Superman movie was still nothing more than a dream. The idea had been conceived. I Am Legend producer Akiva Goldsman had in fact been working on the project, but putting it into practice was a long way off. Goldsman's involvement in the failed project resulted in the inclusion of a fun in-joke in the Will Smith movie. A Times Square movie poster showing Batman and Superman's respective logos overlapping each other could be seen in the background. Of course, the movie has finally become a reality here in 2016, but back then it was almost as if Warner Brothers were saying the only chance of this movie happening is in a fictional post-apocalyptic world. Guardians of the Galaxy. 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy movie was genuinely teeming with in-jokes and fun references, even more so than the average comic book movie, which is really saying something. One of the more subtle examples was the name of the ship owned by Chris Pratt's Star-Lord in the movie. It was called a Milano, which was a cute nod to the fact that director James Gunn used to have a huge childhood crush on actress Alyssa Milano, the gorgeous star of shows like Melrose Place and Charmed. Thanks for watching our list of 10 movie inside jokes you didn't get. Did you spot these on your first viewing? Did we leave any major examples out? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more great videos like this one.
What's that?
Movies often end on cliffhangers, or by hinting towards things to come, and mid- and post-credit scenes are extremely common these days. Examples are especially prominent in the world of comic book movies. This is because the endings often hint towards the characters from the comic books that mainstream movie audiences have. We're going to take a look at 10 movies that get the credits that happen in credits scene or otherwise, and we'll explain exactly what that something is going to be. Please note that the movie spoilers a number of movies released in 2016. Here's our list of 10 explanations to confusing movie endings. Captain America Civil War. A lot happened in the end of Captain America Civil War. The Avengers now actually own the existing Iron Man, Black Widow is on the run to help Bucky and Captain America. Despite having been on the big credit scene, Black Panther also displayed standing in Mark's back by stasis and brainwashing the Cap's on the run, including the next movie with the Wasp. As for the post-credits scene, Spider-Man is back in possession of a high-tech gadget. All that good. Inception. Top concern himself with whether or not he's living or in reality. His total spinning top would tell him in this case. If it kept spinning, Top was dreaming. If it fell, he was awake. It wasn't ended ambiguously. Top walked away from the spinning totem, his children, and the entire world that long after the release by was that Tom no longer cared whether he was dreaming or awake. It was happening like regardless. The Thing. John Carpenter's horror classic The Thing was about a parasitic extraterrestrial life form that assimilates other organisms and subsequently. It infiltrated the Antarctic research movie. Only 2 members of the Styles and well as obvious however, there is a subtle clue that Kurt Russell's character survivor does the same with fire. The parallel to he's the strategist calling the shot and all figured out. X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse. That doesn't mean the movie didn't have a lot of exciting hits on the franchise as a whole. Starters upside down Apocalypse saying always that was certainly resulting in intriguing relationship. Psylocke was a hasty escape after Apocalypse was revealed. There's every chance she might show up with Deadpool occasionally in an X-Force movie in the future, which would be awesome. However, the most exciting thing came in the credits. And the reveal of the briefcase marked Essex Force as a weapon next to Daniel Essex, Mr. Sinister himself, as a future big bad in the franchise. That would be absolutely amazing to see.
Give the people what they want.
Birdman. Birdman follows the exploits of a faded actor called Regan Thompson. They don't know that struggles to come to terms with his fame isn't what it once was. Most famous for a character named Birdman, Thompson's frail mental state has resulted in a character and hallucination. Towards the end of the movie, Thompson replaces the prop gun with a loaded gun in the suicide scene and actually shoots himself in the head. He doesn't die, however. He's later seen recovering in the hospital. The last time we see the character, he opens the window of his hospital room and is never seen again. In the final scene, his daughter Sam walks up to the window, looks down, then looks to the sky and smiles. Although it's pretty tragic, what actually happened is that Sam saw her daughter's spirit heading to heaven. Then eternity had happened. Total Recall. Total Recall tells the story of Douglas Quaid, construction worker in 2024 played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's having troubling dreams about Mars, a mysterious woman. At a company called Recall that provides memory implants or vacations, Quaid decides to take a fantasy memory trip as a secret agent to Mars. Something goes wrong with his implant, and from then on the story continuously asks the question of what is real, what is hallucination. At the movie's climax, it's left ambiguous. But it's all apparently everything is taking place in Quaid's head. How is he stuck like that? Having a violent reaction to the implant process, including aspects of his real life into his fantasy script. This makes a lot of sense. As far as many coincidences, everything that goes on in the field. Guardians of the Galaxy. But there were some important things that you may have missed. You'll no doubt have caught Rocket Raccoon holding a sapling, and seen Minnie Groot dancing behind Drax's back, so you'll know the lovable tree-like humanoid is returning in the sequel. But did you catch the post-credit scene? The Collector was in his destroyed museum with 2 characters from the comic books, Howard the Duck and Cosmo the Space Dog. who we may meet again in the future, but the scene served as a timely reminder of the coming of a much more important character in the franchise. We had previously seen a cocoon in the museum, but the devastation caused when it was destroyed will more than likely have seen the character inside it disturbed from his hibernation. That character is Adam Warlock, and he'll be a key character going forward in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. He'll meet with the Guardians of the Galaxy in their sequel, and his participation alongside them in the fight against Thanos in Avengers Infinity War movies will be decisive when it comes to defeating the Mad Titan.
It ends tonight.
The Matrix Revolutions. If you can understand most of what happened in the 3 Matrix movies, well done to you, but nobody can know for sure exactly what happened at the end of the Matrix Revolutions. That is, apart from the Wachowskis who wrote it, of course. An explanation actually comes from a cutscene in the video game The Matrix: The Path of Neo, in which pixelated representation of the Wachowski say this: Neo stands on the verge of Satori, ready to resolve the paradox of choice and choicelessness, free will versus fate, but that can only be achieved through an act of surrender, which occurs after an abandonment of the perspectile nature of truth, accepting the totality of present consciousness, which ultimately allows an evolutionary transition, transcending the Cartesian dilemma through emergence of delimited spirit, which then provides the world with a third path, the path of Neo, the path of peace. And if that doesn't clear it up for you, basically by referencing a lot of Eastern philosophies, the Wachowskis are saying that Neo's mind and spirit have likely transcended into the Matrix, covering it like a guardian angel or holy ghost. Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. In Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, Superman was killed in a battle against the monstrous Doomsday, a being created using the corpse of General Zod from Man of Steel and the DNA of Lex Luthor. As a tribute to his fallen fellow hero, Batman vowed to assemble a team of metahumans to battle evil from that point onwards. So this After the credits rolled in the brilliant Deadpool movie, the character re-emerged on alongside them in Deadpool's second movie, given how many references to the character were made in the first one. Thanks for watching our list of 10 confusing
Deadpool is really going to have his title immersion because he's killing it. His movie has been breaking records and making so much at the box office that it's literally changing the way studios are thinking about superhero genre. It's already been greenlit for a sequel, so there's a lot of Deadpool coming up with us to watch. I believe in cinematic. I'm here to tell you everything you need to know about the movie without the big screen. Are you a diehard fan who just want to watch? Well, we got something for everything. We got the movie marks Tim Miller's directorial debut. A lot of his previous work was in visual effects, and he is the originator of opening sequence. The movie has been in development for over a decade. Then it bounced around between studios. As early as 2000, artists included along with others, to the big screen. Some expected progress with Black Panther, Iron Fist, and Captain America. The whole shit changed hands again in 2005 with New Line Cinema taking over. And then later, the New Line strapped the button. Deadpool was first introduced in the New Mutants number 98 as a villain. He was never intended to become the character known him as. The film was later released 25 years after this movie. The character was actually used his name as the Caribbean aka Slate Deadpool. According to creator Bob Liefeld, his moniker Deadpool was inspired by the 1988 Dirty Harry movie Deadpool. While he was already a fan of the character, Reynolds said he was interested in playing the character. Deadpool himself said he was Sharpie and Brian Reynolds in an issue of the comic. The idea of the Reynolds to star in a Deadpool movie was discussed while he, David Goyer, and Fox executive Jeff Katz were on set for the late Trinity 2004. Even though Goyer dropped out, Reynolds never gave up on the character. Reynolds' first appearance as Deadpool wasn't such a hit. A different version of the character appeared in X-Men Origins Wolverine in 2009 that had poor reception. A change is described as being due to a shift in the timeline during Deadpool even killed he responds, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Reynolds said he was flat out in the claim that this was the edition of Deadpool in Origins Wolverine. After he told the studio he felt the fans would be angered by the incorrect version of the character, the studio told him that if he didn't play the role, he would never be allowed to play Deadpool in the future. After X-Men Origins, there was talk of a spin-off to Deadpool. However, the board review led to the idea of being a 3-minute test film was created to try to convince the studio to move forward with the movie. It was shot in January 2012 and released to the public in August 2014, where it had a large response from fans, and the film finally began with the from the test reel was so popular that they actually recreated it and included it in the movie. It is the scene where Deadpool is sitting on the bridge and drops into the car fight scene on the freeway. Paul Wernick was thrilled about the video. He said, if you go back and look it up, we were like, here it goes. Reynolds said that it's an absolute fact that without the internet, Deadpool was never made. He said that David Fincher and James Cameron both really loved the Deadpool script, and were both although the scope of the sequels and cameras, this could be due to the mediocre. This film is actually really a good time in a comic book movie. After Blade Trinity, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Green Lantern, and R.I.P. Reynolds has posted on Twitter that the film would have a PG-13 rating due to the nature of Deadpool's later that day, Reynolds had learned that it was the movie will be released the year that Deadpool was first announced. And also the year that Deadpool was known to break the record. Normally a movie not able to look real powerful, so on the audiences did. On that, DVD commentary by someone who's not wouldn't say. There was discussion over how far to go with Reynolds' bad appearance. Some of the people portrayed him as a really different. However, why the character was able to slip more light while seeing the official Deadpool costume for the first time. Reynolds claimed Deadpool's costume was easily military, which apparently was hard to work with in CGI, but the version and that this was layer made it look too big. Reynolds was allowed to use the Deadpool costume and Halloween. Talk about getting his revenge. Even though Danny Boyd was stuck in the ground, he did almost all his own stuff. The screenplay was written by Brett Reese and Paul Wernick, who worked together on Zombieland and G.I. Joe Retaliation. David Goyer was expected to write and direct the movie, but instead opted to work on other projects. After Goyer dropped as director, it took some time for the production team to find